Hey. Woman! I'm in the middle of something.
No!
Hey yo, remember your stalker? People wear masks. And sometimes you never really knew someone until it's too late. So here's another creepy guy story for the cause. Heya, I'm Hyreia, and this is the cracker story of how a good friend of mine turned out to be the goddamn worst person I have met in my entire life. Anyways, the context we started talking in is a little weird. So looky here. Some context. In the last few years of high school, I was part of a friendship group that mainly consisted of boys. Yeah, I was one of the boys.
Shut your stupid.
See, down there, here I am. I'm not even kidding when I say these boys were all like 6'9" and buff as shit, and I was only a little bit shorter. There was one boy in particular that drifted in and out of the group. For the sake of this video, I'll call him, David. Back in school, David and I weren't close. It was actually when we were in our second years at university that we started talking and got closer. We realized we had a lot in common. A little more context. We both went to high school in Dubai, and now I'm at medical school in England. He's in Amsterdam, but who cares? And that's when it all started. So I own a pretty big Discord server themed around mecha and Transformers and cool big shiny robots, since I love those fandoms. Funny story, I actually draw giant transforming robots better than I can draw people. Back to the story. A new person joined one day and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. They were nice enough, even bonding with one of my best friends, future boyfriend Koa. It was Christmas break at the time and I was visiting home when the new person posted a picture from a racetrack I recognized in Dubai, not far from where I live. When I mentioned that I knew the place, they said they wanted to meet up. This sucker really thinks I'm gonna see his ass when all I got on him is a motorcycle helmet profile picture. Goofy ass. I was on the phone to my boys at the FBI to run a check on this motherfucker. Hell no. He realized I was kinda dodging the subject and crawled into my DMs admitting they were David from school and that they didn't know it was me until that day. Huh? I thought it was a little weird since all my friends knew about my server, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt and we met up at the mall. Cue mistake tally, strike one. We actually had a pretty chill time. We went to some gaming stores, grabbed some food, and decided to go back to his house to play video games. We hung out a few times that break until eventually I felt comfortable inviting him over to my house. Mistake numero dos. My entire family was home, so I thought it was fine. And what could possibly go wrong? But here's the tip of the iceberg and the downfall that would soon follow. We were sitting on my bed, a respectable distance apart. You know, I'm brown parents. If I came even 2 centimeters of a boy, then, you know, chunkla to the neck meat. So we were chatting and playing on our Switches until it was time for David to leave, since my parents were, you know, they're brown parents. What else is there to say? David pauses and reaches over to me and accidentally gropes my biddies. Boy. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't realize existing was an invitation. But then he pushed me down onto the bed and my soul left my body. I have never, ever felt more uncomfortable in my life. If I let the Latina genes take over, I would have decked this guy into next Monday. Chunkla to the neck me. Anyway, he was really pushing to stay for a little longer, even though he knew my family rules. Like, this white boy really think he about to bend some brown parent laws. He's signing himself up to same day delivery to Jesus. And then, drumroll please, he confessed to me. Hey, yo, shawty, let me get a piece of that.
What do you mean by that?
He told me that he needed me, and that he loved me, and that I made him a better person, and that I was his entire world. And this is all while he has me pinned down, by the way. I politely turned him down, you know, in the most peaceful manner possible. Wait, baby, we could talk about this, please! I was honest with David about everything, and he said he understood and still wanted to be friends, and I agreed. I didn't want to lose someone over unrequited feelings, since I was someone who always struggled to make friends in the first place. I went back to the UK after the holidays to continue my second term of university, and everything seemed normal. We texted back and forth on Discord and WhatsApp during the term, and then came one of the most stressful periods of my life. My passport was expiring, and I needed to renew it. This was during COVID, and wait times were longer than the longest stick in the world. Yeah. I submitted my application, and it took months to receive a reply. It was approaching Easter break and my passport wasn't here, so I couldn't go home. After hundreds of calls with the passport office and my passport getting lost in the ether, it was already a few days into the break. I was keeping David updated the whole time since he was worried, and this nutcase decided to take a flight to the UK instead of Dubai to come all the way up to Leeds to stay with me whilst I waited for my passport. He rocked up at the crib and things seemed okay. That was until he started getting a bit touchy-feely in ways that only couples do. He would hold my hand and I'd pull away. He touched my hips and my lower back and thighs. He'd lean his head on my chest and I'd push him away. He destroyed all of my boundaries and acted like it was my fault. And I told him not to touch me, as I wasn't okay with it. He turned to me and confessed again, and went on and on about how he needed me because I'd made him a better person. All my alarm bells were going off. I told him to leave because I wasn't comfortable anymore. He cornered me and told me to calm down and that he would make me dinner and things would be okay. I tried to fight back tears. I told him to leave again, and this was when his mask fell. David's expression became dark, and he told me that he must be a horrible, despicable person because I didn't love him back, and that he hates himself now and should just disappear. I told him to please leave me alone because his presence was starting to scare me. He refused to leave and stood by the door, as if blocking my escape. I was on the far side of the room, and the door was on the opposite wall, and he was in the middle of us. I managed to will up enough strength to say I would call the police. After more fighting and pleading for him to leave, he collected his stuff and finally left. I was heartbroken. I thought it was my fault. I thought the way he was feeling was all because of me. I got no peace for the rest of the evening. He blew up my phone begging for a second chance. Sucker, there wasn't even a first chance, but go off, I guess. The messages were 100% non-GMO, organic, guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is a form of emotional manipulation meant to modify someone's thoughts, feelings, or behaviors by creating a powerful emotional response. A person can inadvertently say or do something that creates guilt, even if this outcome wasn't their desired goal. I don't know whether he intended it, but he made me feel like protecting my boundaries was wrong, and made me feel guilty for just protecting myself. I blocked his contact and tried to shake off the anxiety clawing at me after what just happened. My passport arrived a few days later, and I was able to get back home for a little while. And then the messages started. Unknown accounts started following me, liking my content, and messaging me in DMs, trying to make small talk. I didn't realize that they were all David, trying to talk to me while hiding behind the mask of anonymity on the internet. Sometimes I would genuinely vibe with these accounts, only to realize it was him. He pretended to be another person, another face, just to talk to me. I blocked every single one, but for every one that I did, more and more kept appearing. He was everywhere, on all my social media, tracking everything I said or did. Eventually, he decided to try a new tactic, threatening to do things to himself. because I wasn't interacting with him. He told me he was in hospital with a heart condition, exacerbated by the stress of our situation, that his mental health had hit an all-time low, because I kept rejecting him and didn't want to talk to him anymore. He told me he had been assaulted violently and wound up on death's doorstep. I don't know if any of this is really true, but one thing stabbed me so hard. It was all because of me. As someone training to be a doctor, the idea of hurting someone or putting someone's health at risk was horrific to me, and I never, ever want to hurt anyone. He made me feel like it was my fault, and that I needed to be his friend and love him so he could live. I almost fell into his trap. I almost sacrificed all of my emotions just to try and make sure he was alive and healthy. I was becoming so afraid that if I tried to shut him out, he would die. The messages continued every day, and I was becoming afraid of talking online or posting anything for fear he would find me. One quiet day at home during Easter, our security system picked up movement outside the house late into the night. FBI, open up! There was a shadow of an object in front of the house. My mom went down to check, bringing it inside. There was an unlabeled, large, heavy package outside the door to the gate of my house. It was him. He was back. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you. It means the world to me that you take the time to listen to my story. So I know this is a bit heavy for my first video, but I wanted to reach out to anyone else who's had a scary experience and let them know that things will get better. I hope you guys will stick around with me on this YouTube journey and see where it takes me. I'm excited to make more funny and lighthearted content, make friends with you guys, and introduce a few special guests coming up, so stay tuned. See you on the next episode, and stay peachy.